I mean, despite those challenges, I think we see a lot of opportunities as we move forward. And our main focus always it will be our customers, communities, and the country that we serve, and making sure that we're able to help them get back either their lives or their businesses during this new normal.
COVID-19 has now transformed into a global pandemic. It has affected our economies, our jobs, the stock market, and our way of life. As it brings uncertainty to many parts of our lives, this series is our conversations with the companies, the players, the decision makers, to help us make sense of it all. Welcome to COL Conversations.
Welcome to COL Conversations. I'm very fortunate today to have with me Al Panlilio, the Chief Revenue Officer of PLDT and President of Smart Communications, Anabelle Chua, Senior Vice President, CFO, and Chief Risk Management Officer of PLDT, and Melissa Vergel de Dios, First Vice President and Head of Investor Relations. They will be talking about how PLDT is doing today in light of the COVID-19 pandemic and lessons learned from past crises that they're applying today. So first of all, how is PLDT being affected by the COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown that was recently implemented in most of the country? And what are you doing differently right now because of the pandemic?
Yeah, okay, April. Thank you. And again, thank you for inviting us. And just going back to the bond, I think that's a very significant effort that Anabelle and the team has done. And really, it's really good for the company, but also good for the country. And I think you've seen a lot of other companies following suit. Just gives the confidence not only to, I think, PLDT, but also to the country. I guess for us, we've been very busy, April, since the start of the year, but even busier, of course, during the pandemic. Maybe I just run through very quickly the programs that we've had from a business segment point of view. I guess for Smart, which is the individual business, really our brand promise really passions powered by innovation and cutting edge technology made simple. So we are really pushing for digital solutions across the board, driving our customers to online, which was really significant during the pandemic, pushing on our Giga platforms. And as you know, it's already the 20th year of Talk and Text. So some programs also on Talk and Text, and pushing also for LTE packet Wi-Fi devices, where it's really now very critical, especially for certain industries like education, where students will really be studying from home. We also got a lot of demand during the lockdown for BPOs, for example, of having work from home connectivity. So that was very, very big during this period. Again, I think you're very aware of this. We had a major campaign despite the pandemic. We launched this June 1, and we shot this at the height of the lockdown. Of course, we're not able to go to Korea, but we had people working. And really, the promise, as I said, for Smart is making it simple for our customers and really relying on our network, fastest mobile network, and Smart LTE that have been actually acknowledged by third-party companies like Ookla and OpenSignal. So for home, again, keeping our brand promise, keeping Filipino families connected in a meaningful way. Used to be really just for bonding and rest time for families, but during the lockdown, even for work, as I said, and also for education. So it became a very, very strong message for us to really continue pushing connectivity to the home, shifting online, selling services also online, staying home campaign, and we even did a speed boost to our customers, doubling the data so that we can help them during this time. Initially, we had problems with the lockdown, obviously, of our crew to move around and enter villages and enter barangays. So there was a difficulty on connecting, installing, and repair. But since that time, since after the lockdown, sometime after Easter Sunday, I think we're able to recover on our people going out. Initially, our main focus was safety of our customers and employees. So we want to make sure that we all had the PPEs, the masks, the gloves, and the proper safety protocol in place before We sent out our crew and worked very hard with the government to get IATF IDs, also to allow our crew to really go around and do installation and repair. So initially a challenge, but again we were able to solve that. For enterprise, obviously we continue to be close to our customers, making sure that we have a positive impact on every business. That's the promise. And we were active with them in terms of offering, again, speed boost also. And as you know, we have, same with home, we have a deferred treatment. So we have actually said that we will extend your billing to 6 months payable. But we again had a lot of work from home connectivity requirements, and making sure that we also assisted a lot of the agencies. We gave zero rated we actually zero rated certain websites that were critical during the pandemic. So we continue to be really close to our customers, making sure that we address their requirements. For international, same thing, making sure connectivity was there. Obviously, the impact on roaming was there because travel was almost close to zero. So that will impact us, but we continue to serve our customers who want to stay connected to their families back home. I mean, despite those challenges, I think we see a lot of opportunities as we move forward. And our main focus always will be our customers, communities, and the country that we serve, and making sure that we're able to help them get back either their lives or their businesses back on their feet during this new normal. So we see a lot of opportunities, obviously even before the pandemic, and e-banking. Now we're seeing a lot of it, and e-learning. We've had a lot of discussions with DepEd in how we can help 32 million students go back to school in April, about 1 million teachers, and what will be that model in terms of, maybe it will be an online offline model, since not everybody will have access to connectivity. Maybe our assets in broadcasting and DPH will also help in that ecosystem that we're trying to build in e-learning. No? But at the end of the day, also the issue of devices at the hands of the students and the teachers, and how we can really make e-learning happen. E-commerce is there. I mean, as you know, a lot of online payments and online deliveries have happened during this time, and e-health and also e-government in terms of permitting and licensing. So a lot of initiatives, a lot of potential opportunities for new normal, and we're gearing up to hopefully address these pillars as we move forward. So it's very clear to us, even when I was coming in late last year, that we were pushing on improving and enhancing our online platform. Sure enough, during the lockdown, that was very clear to us, very significant, that there was really a need for us to strengthen that functionality and capability, and that is ongoing and work in progress as we speak. So just very briefly on the impact of the COVID, I think that was your question, April. Initially, obviously, during the onset, first quarter was very strong, still carrying the momentum from fourth quarter of last year. Starting third, if not the last week of March, we did see a slowdown up to April, where top-ups were softer. But as I said earlier, after Easter Sunday, our top-ups started to come back, and even up to this day, we are already even above pre-ECQ levels in terms of top-ups. No? So that's healthy volume and healthy demand that we see. We've also been able to recover on our postpaid applications. I think during the lockdown, where all the retail stores were closed, we were close to zero in terms of new activation for postpaid, because there were people that were, they didn't just have a chance to go to stores. But now it's back again to almost the same level during pre-ECQ. So postpaid accounts are now picking up also. For home broadband, demand continues to be strong. I think during this pandemic or lockdown, I think it clearly shows our advantage on our fiber fixed network. And And clearly, that is a proposition that is very strong on our broadband. Data being 70% now of our business. As I said initially, initial challenges on installation repair, but that's been addressed, and that has been growing back to pre-ECQ levels also in terms of installation on a daily basis. Enterprise would possibly be the among the three segments the softest, but still growing compared to last year, mainly because a lot of our customers, especially the SMEs, are also impacted. And I'm hearing also already a lot of clients closing down and really rethinking their businesses. No? So, and I mentioned roaming is down. No? But as we are able to now address the capacities. Initially, we in terms of data volume, our traffic grew by 25%. It spiked by 25% during lockdown. It's still at that level today, and it just shows you the strength of the network, and we're able to manage that. Certain areas we had some issues on congestion, but that was quickly addressed, and we were able to in fact refarm certain frequencies just to provide more capacity for our 4G towers now. So what are we focusing now? Looking beyond ECQ, again, recognition of importance of data and broadband, work from home, really gaining greater adoption, and it will be the new normal for us. And I think companies will continue to have connectivity at home. In fact, we do have a pipeline of requirements both on fixed and fixed fiber and packet Wi-Fi that is needed. Clearly, it shows our fiber fixed line advantage, and excuse me, we are actually, there is also a demand for fixed wireless. And I think during this period, we did pass the stress test of the network, and I think the investments made by the company the last few years is really bearing fruit for us in terms of customer experience. And again, our drive to digital and online capabilities, and making sure that we are there for them in terms of connectivity for our customers, but also solution building. So I think that's all that I have for now. So yeah. Thank you, April.
Yeah. So looks like you're enjoying a V-shaped type of recovery for PLDT.
Yes, I think across the board, we're, if I may say that maybe we're looking at first half being ahead of even the first half of last year in terms of revenue. Yeah. So I think that's the good news. I mean, despite the fact that almost the whole month of April was very, very soft in terms of our business.
But you're still maintaining your conservative guidance that you gave during the first quarter briefing.
In terms of revenues, or?
Yes, in terms of revenues, gonna be slightly lower.
Well, if you compare second quarter to first quarter 2020, I think it will be obviously negative, but very, very low digit negative. So it's not going to be too far from first quarter. In fact, I think our second quarter revenues will be higher than the first 3 quarters of last year.
Okay, that's very good.
Only not higher than fourth quarter, which normally our highest month, right? Highest quarter for the year. But our first quarter this year is already higher than fourth quarter of last year. So I think those are the numbers that we see, and I think created momentum starting from last year, as I said. So that's bringing us forward, and I think like our first half will be, it will show growth vis-a-vis last year, same period.
Yeah. I'd like to congratulate PLDT for successfully raising $600 million by offering 10-year and 30-year bonds priced at a very low rate of 2.5% and 3.45%. So the issue was very successful and was 17 times oversubscribed. So definitely it is a very strong sign of confidence on the company. So can you share with us the significance of this to the company?
Yeah, this is Anabelle. Yeah, so we were very pleased with the outcomes of the bond issue, as you indicated, we had orders of over $10 billion for an issue size requirement of $600 billion. So it affirms basically that the confidence of investors behind the PLDT story, particularly as it relates to a historic 30-year tenor and at very historically low coupons also for any Philippine issuer. It helps also that we have a credit rating of investment grade that provided by S&P and Moody's. So that again gave confidence to the offshore investors in the PLDT long-term credit story. So it's principally meant for refinancing of our debt maturities for balance of the year and next year, and some prepayments even of 2022 loans. So effectively, we're going to be able to achieve a lower financing cost by being able to refinance at these rates, and also it takes away the risk of any refinancing issues that we may have. It also diversifies our funding source to a new base and effectively preserves our bank lines locally for other financing requirements we have. From a currency perspective, PLDT still enjoys some US dollar inflows, so we feel that we have the ability to take on some additional US dollar exposure, although we will also be actively managing our hedge position. So all told, I think it really benefits even the equity story because we have put in place the refinancing at good terms for PLDT.
Yeah, definitely it's good news. I remember in the past, I mean, when you go through crisis, it's one of the major problems, being able to refinance at a very good rate. And you have at least addressed that problem, that there will be no refinancing risk for PLDT in the near term. Okay, so yeah, out of curiosity, like the decision to tap Hyun Bin as your endorser, how has that been? Has it been very successful in generating revenues for you?
You know, that the day that we launched June 1, we launched Hyun Bin. We had, I think that was the second highest top up of the day for our business. So there has been a big demand actually. It has impacted our business actually. It has shown interest from the market, and I think maybe for a change, during the time that everybody was on a lockdown, and there was really nothing to look forward to but watch Chloe. Everybody sort of knew him, knew Yoon Bin, and I think we're very lucky and very blessed that we're able to get him. And I guess that was maybe the good news during a time when there was a crisis that was happening, and a welcome good news at that time. And it also shows, I think, what our business is all about, technology. And I think we shot this commercial still in the middle of May, despite people not being able to travel, no? And it was a one-day shoot in Korea, May 16, if I recall, and we had a Zoom in call with Yoon Bin during the actual shot, and of course he didn't speak too much English, but he said thank you and all of that, and we just said thank you for being an endorser. But I think it shows you the technology, connectivity, and we can still do things. I mean, I guess despite the challenges and the obstacles. And to the point, going back to the bond, I was telling Anabelle, I wanted to have gone to London and Singapore and New York with the roadshow, but we did the roadshow virtually, 8 or 9, I think, Anabelle, meetings in 8 hours, and really it was done through virtual.
Yeah, it's very impressive actually. I mean, the sign of confidence on PLDT is very impressive. I mean, with that bond offering. Yeah.
Yeah, MVP was very, very happy with that. So thank you.
Yeah, and on the other side, we have the SMEs though that are suffering because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and that's hurting your enterprise business. We're just wondering, would that have a significant impact, and how are you helping them cope?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we've given them reprieve on the billings. We're giving them 6 months to, so that we don't they don't suffer a bill shock. We're giving them time to pay and recover. We also just launched late last week a new offering beyond fiber, which is really more beyond connectivity. It offers also Wi-Fi in your office and some other platforms that can help you run your business. I mean, today a lot of people during the lockdown are baking from their homes and wanting to sell it online. So I think there are packages that we can offer for people that are entrepreneurial in their own way and are able to push these products online, and they can sell and they can earn money. I know that a lot of people have lost their jobs also. So I think this is our small way of maybe offering a package that can help them get into their own business and have their own e-commerce platform run their business. But
Yeah,
it is it's difficult for a lot of the SMEs. So we're trying to hopefully continue to serve them and help them recover.
Yeah. Speaking of doing online businesses, like how is PayMaya doing in light of the pandemic? Is it benefiting?
Yeah, definitely they're benefiting, and I think Anabelle has more data. But in certain areas where they were strong before, like travel and restaurants that have come down, but a lot, bill payments, retail, ordering online, and that has gone up in a big way. Personally, I was, I had my PayMaya for a long time, but I've never used it significantly until this lockdown. I was surprised, like my driver, my caddy, and all of that, they had smart padala. So I was able to send money through my PayMaya account, and surprisingly, a lot of them have smart padala accounts for local remittances. So I think in terms of the business for PayMaya, there was also an increase in their smart padala transaction levels. So it is already the new norm, I think, and PayMaya should be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, basically, PayMaya has three business pillars: the consumer wallet, then the padala, which is really money remittance, and then the enterprise. So they've seen growth across all segments, practically doubling, I think, in terms of the volumes that they are seeing pass through their system. So of course, yeah, like Al said, the money transfers padala was really something that was heavily used during this period. Consumer payments as well, and then the enterprise side, where again they have a strong position, but it just shifted in terms of the sectors they were supporting, right? Because it used to be the online travel was a big part of their acquiring business. So of course that's down, right? Instead, it moved to pharmaceuticals and some retail. So, but overall, the usage has really shot up in terms of the number of users as well as the throughput that they're processing. So it's kind of good development. Of course, they're still in that period where they're in an acquisition cash burn mode, right? But it still has some time to go before it breaks even. But it's very encouraging in terms of the volumes and adoption we saw this year.
I think if I may add to that, hi, this is Melissa. One of the things that PayMaya took advantage of is they partnered with government institutions and local government units. So I think a lot of the local governments were, those who partnered with PayMaya were able to distribute the assistance a little more easily than those who relied on the physical distribution of cash. So I think PayMaya has made a push to partner with SSS, with the local government units. And I think that's one way of encouraging use because it's a way of funding the wallet. Kasi I guess it
Yeah.
results in money being in the wallet, and then you have to spend that onwards, and that helps build the ecosystem even faster.
Yeah, that's good news. But are there plans to unlock the value of PayMaya soon, or it will take a while pa?
No, we basically since last year we brought in the other investors, right? KKR, Tencent, IFC, right? So very sort of prestigious names, right? And they've really been active in the management of the company. So in that sense, we've already, kind of
Yeah.
unlocked part of that value, right? Of course, the next step is really to bring in to a different level, and that's really will be driven off more users acquisition and higher usage, and I guess even going into other related financial services.
Okay, so another big news that happened recently was the release of the guidelines by the DICT for the common tower policy. So just want to ask, I mean, clearly the market viewed it as a positive for the third telco, given the performance of Dito. But is this good for PLDT, or will it be bad because it gives the third telco an ability to jumpstart its operations?
Well, if I may, April, I think from a future mode perspective, we've always said that we're open to share and use these common towers, right? That the tower companies will build. So that also effectively helps everybody in the industry, not just the third player, right? So I guess the guidelines have is something that everybody's been waiting, because there have been a lot of interest from the tower companies. We have been engaging with a number of them, but everybody was waiting for clarity in terms of what exactly is the framework for them to invest here in the country. So I guess that's a step in the right direction. There are still provisions there that are a little not so clear. So I think there is some forum by which include the operators, existing ones, and everybody else would like to clarify some of the specifics in the circular. So there are some clauses, I guess, that people don't exactly understand yet. So so we're still in that phase where I think there will be some exchange with the ICT. I don't know if it's exactly when it's scheduled, but there will be a forum by which everybody can come together and clarify certain provisions in that circular. So we have had some bilateral discussions with tower companies, and I think their ability to firm up, some of the specifics is dependent on the provisions in this circular.
If I may add to that, lang, I think maybe unlike India, when all the towers are already in one, shared towers already from the start. No? So if a new player comes in, then it's easier to tap on that network. Here, we still have actually to identify the companies that will do the common towers. So there's no towers to speak of today. So there's still some build out to be done. So clearly it's different from in terms of if you compare it to India, what happened in India is very different here in the Philippines. Having said that, I mean, just to echo what Anabelle is saying, I think we've always said that on the moving forward, and we will still have requirements for new towers, especially when you also go to 5G, where you would require more towers or BTS. Then we are open to really work with the for shared infrastructure for towers.
So will that mean less capex for you?
Well, that's the idea. I mean, when you share, hopefully, the towers, then your cost also should go down.
Okay. So I just have one last question. I think one of the reasons why retail investors love to buy PLDT is because of the attractive cash dividends, especially right now with interest rates being so low. So I guess fittingly, one of the questions that I get asked the most is if there are plans to cut cash dividends given the high capex level of PLDT.
From our dividend policy, I think we have not changed that. We will stick to the 60%. So we have not changed our dividend policy.
So we continue to try to balance everything, right? So focus on growing our top line and managing our costs so that we can see higher EBITDA performance to support principally the capex and the debt service and dividends, right? So we're trying to really focus on improving the underlying performance, and therefore it gives us the ability to invest in the capex, and the capex obviously is also intended to generate further growth down the line. And then we also keep an eye on the the debt side, so that make sure that the leverage ratios are in check, and then preserve the dividend. That's kind of been it's our focus is really all along all of that, diba? That's why it gives us confidence to say that we are affirming our payout policy, and it's just a question of what the earnings level will be this year, next year, on which the 60% payout is applied.
Yeah, that's good news, especially now. I mean, a lot of companies have been cutting cash dividends given all the problems. So at least that's very good news for investors to hear.
I guess we're fortunate in the sense that, of course, what is going on in the pandemic affects everyone. But in a sense, telco has proven to be a critical service for people to be able to, stay connected, work from home, study from home, and all. So that's kind of allows us to be in this position that we're seeing, good fundamentals from the business side.
Yeah, it's allowing you to be resilient, notwithstanding the social distancing requirements. Yeah. Would you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to share with investors?
I guess April, just one final message maybe. I think we're really focusing our business for our customers. I think all the decisions that we make today has the customer in the middle of those decisions and the actions that we take. We want to make sure that we're able to address their requirements. We're relevant to their needs and their asks from us, and we try to hopefully help either their businesses or their lives become better. And as I said, as Yunbin says, make it simple for people to use our service, and technology should be able to do that for them.
Okay. So with that, thank you very much for sharing your time with us and sharing with us updates on PLDT and how it's doing in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much.